Ever heard of a lawman who arrested over 3,000 felons, never once got wounded, and was a formerly enslaved person who became one of the most feared U.S. Marshals in history? If this sounds like a character straight out of a blockbuster movie, you're close. But this man was real, and his name was Bass Reeves. Forget what you think you know from movies and legends. Today, we're diving deep into the true, incredible story of the man who might just be the greatest lawman of the American West. Born into slavery in Arkansas in 1838, Bass Reeves's early life was one of unimaginable hardship. Owned by a man named William Steele Reeves, a farmer and eventual Texas legislator, Bass was forced to serve his enslaver, even accompanying him into the Confederate Army during the Civil War. It was during this brutal conflict that Bass's life took a dramatic turn. The exact details are lost to history, but the story goes that after a dispute with William Reeves, possibly over a card game, Bass made a courageous and life-altering decision. He escaped. Fleeing into what was then known as Indian Territory, modern-day Oklahoma, Bass Reeves didn't just hide. He thrived. He found refuge among the Cherokee, Creek, and Seminole nations, living with them for years. During this time, he learned their languages, mastered their tracking skills, and became intimately familiar with the treacherous, lawless land that would later become his jurisdiction. This period of his life was crucial. It wasn't just a time of survival, it was his training ground. He was honing the very skills that would make him a legendary lawman. When the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1863, Bass was a free man. He left the territory, moved back to Arkansas, and started a new life. He married Nellie Jenny, bought a farm, and together they had 11 children. For a time, it seemed Bass had settled into a quiet, peaceful existence as a farmer and a family man. But the Wild West wasn't done with him yet. The untamed Indian Territory, a sprawling 75,000 square mile area, was a haven for outlaws. The federal government needed men who knew the land, understood its people, and feared nothing. They needed men like Bass Reeves. In 1875, Judge Isaac C. Parker, famously known as the Hanging Judge, was appointed to bring law to the region. He needed deputies, and he didn't care about the color of a man's skin. He cared about his grit. Parker deputized 200 men, and one of the very first was Bass Reeves. This was a monumental moment. At a time when racial prejudice was rampant, Bass Reeves became one of the first black deputy U.S. Marshals west of the Mississippi River. He stood 6'2", was powerfully built, and known for his calm demeanor and unwavering dedication to justice. He couldn't read or write, but he had someone read him the warrants, and he memorized every single one. Once he pinned on that star, Bass Reeves became a force of nature. He rode the unforgiving territory, often with a Native American posseman and a wagon, on trips that could last for months. He was a master of disguise, a brilliant detective, and an exceptional marksman with both a pistol and a rifle. He was ambidextrous and famously rode with 2 Colt .45 peacemakers, butts facing forward for a quicker draw. But he preferred to bring criminals in alive. He once said he never shot a man when it was not necessary for him to do so in the discharge of his duty to save his own life. The stories of his exploits are the stuff of legend. There was the time he disguised himself as a dirt-poor farmer, walking 28 miles to the home of 2 notorious outlaws. After they let him stay the night, he handcuffed them in their sleep and marched them back to his camp. Another time, he received a warrant for a gang of horse thieves. He set up a fake camp, posing as an outlaw on the run himself. The gang found him, and after sharing stories around the fire, they invited him to join their outfit. Bass rode with them until the perfect moment, then single-handedly arrested the entire group. Over his 32-year career, Reeves brought in more than 3,000 fugitives. He was known for his cleverness and his integrity. He would leave a silver dollar on the eyelid of outlaws he had to kill, a calling card that struck fear into the hearts of criminals across the territory. But perhaps the most telling story of his unwavering commitment to the law is the most heartbreaking one. In 1902, a warrant was issued for the arrest of his own son, Benny, for the murder of his wife. The other deputies were hesitant to take the warrant. Bass Reeves didn't hesitate. He said it was his duty, and he tracked, arrested, and brought his own son to justice. Benny was convicted and served his time, eventually being released as a model citizen. This single act speaks volumes about the man Bass Reeves was. The law came first, above all else. Despite his legendary career, as Oklahoma moved toward statehood in 1907, the new government had no place for black lawmen. Bass Reeves's time as a U.S. Marshal came to an end, but he wasn't done serving. He took a job as a police officer in Muskogee, Oklahoma. For 2 years, it's said that not a single crime was reported on his beat. His reputation preceded him. The man who had tamed the lawless frontier was still keeping the peace. Bass Reeves passed away from Bright's disease in 1910 at the age of 71. His story, for a long time, was largely forgotten, overshadowed by the fictionalized heroes of dime novels and Hollywood westerns. In fact, many historians believe that the iconic character of the Lone Ranger was heavily inspired by the real-life exploits of Bass Reeves. Think about it. A master of disguise, a silver trademark, the Lone Ranger's silver bullets, Reeves's silver dollars, and a trusted Native American companion. The parallels are uncanny. Today, thankfully, Bass Reeves's story is being rediscovered and celebrated. He was a man who rose from the horrors of slavery to become a symbol of justice and integrity in one of the most dangerous places in American history. He wasn't a myth or a legend. He was a real-life hero who navigated a world of prejudice and violence with courage, skill, and an unshakable moral compass. His legacy is a powerful reminder that heroes come in all forms and from all walks of life, and that true grit is defined not by the color of your skin, but by the content of your character. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the life of the incredible Bass Reeves. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more true tales from history. Let us know in the comments what you think about this legendary lawman. We'll see you in the next one.